The galaxy had always been ruled by fear. For thousands of years, the galactic empire had stretched its claws across countless worlds, bending entire civilizations to its will. Every species that resisted was crushed, their fleets burned, their leaders erased, and their people forced into obedience. To the empire, war was not a risk. It was tradition. When humanity was discovered on the far edge of the spiral arm, the empire barely gave Earth more than a glance. Humans were considered small, young, and unimportant. Their ships were not made with the advanced alloys of the core worlds. Their armies lacked the genetic upgrades that most galactic warriors carried. And their technology, though growing quickly, was nothing compared to the thousand-year-old machines of the Empire. The Emperor's command was clear: Earth must kneel, or Earth must burn. The message arrived in a way that no human could ignore. A vast Imperial ship, bigger than any city on Earth, appeared near Mars and projected a transmission across every human channel. The voice of the Empire's envoy echoed coldly: "People of Earth, the Galactic Empire extends its rule to your world. You will submit, pay tribute, and send soldiers to serve under our banner. Refuse, and your species will be erased from history. You have 1 week to decide." On Earth, fear spread like fire. Leaders argued in every government hall. Some said resistance was madness, that surrender was the only way to protect humanity from destruction. Others shouted that freedom was worth any price, that Earth must never kneel to tyrants. The world was divided, and for a moment, it seemed humanity might collapse under its own uncertainty before the Empire even fired a shot. But then, a man stood up among them, General Marcus Hale, commander of Earth's newly formed defense fleet, was not the tallest nor the most decorated leader. Yet he had something that others lacked: a calm, unshakable belief in the spirit of his people. Where others trembled, Marcus looked at the threat of the Empire with steady eyes. He was chosen to speak before the Council of Species, a gathering of alien envoys from smaller civilizations who had come only to watch humanity's fate. Most of them pitied Earth. They had seen too many young races broken by the Empire's hand. The council chamber was a grand place, filled with towering beings of many shapes, scaled, feathered, crystalline, and luminous. At the center stood Marcus, a lone human in a simple uniform. The envoy of the Empire, cloaked in black, loomed above him. "You have one chance," the envoy declared. "Bend your knee to the Empire or face total war. Do not think your small fleets or fragile armies can protect you." The chamber fell silent. The alien envoys leaned forward, waiting for the human to beg for mercy. That was what always happened. That was the way of the galaxy, but Marcus did not beg. He lifted his head, his voice firm, calm, and steady. "Humanity does not bow," he said. "If war is what the Empire demands, then war is what we will give." Gasps filled the chamber. The Empire's envoy tilted its head, almost amused. "You choose destruction?" Marcus shook his head slowly. "I choose survival. You see us as weak, but you do not know us. You will learn." The alien envoys whispered among themselves. Some shook their heads in sorrow, convinced Earth was doomed. Others felt a spark of curiosity. It was rare to see a species stand against the Empire with such resolve. The Empire's envoy gave no reply. It simply turned and left, its dark figure fading into shadow. The decision was made. The countdown to war had begun. Back on Earth, Marcus returned to his command. The defense fleet was small, a handful of carriers, destroyers, and swarms of fighters. Their weapons were powerful by human standards, but compared to the massive dreadnoughts of the Empire, they were like children's toys against giants. Still, Marcus walked among his soldiers with confidence. "Sir," one officer asked, "do we really stand a chance? Their fleets are endless." Marcus looked at him, then at the men and women who gathered in the hangar. "Listen well," he said. "The Empire believes war is won by numbers and size, but humanity has never survived by being the biggest or the strongest. We survive because we adapt, we endure, and when we are cornered, we fight harder than anyone expects. That is our chance." His words spread across the fleet. Fear was still there, but it was now mixed with determination. Days passed quickly. On the edge of the Sol system, sensors detected movement. An Imperial Vanguard fleet, dark and massive, heading straight for Earth. The first battle was near. Marcus stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Resolute. Before him, the star map displayed the enemy approaching. Behind him, his officers waited for his command. Signal to all ships, Marcus ordered. We do not fight for glory. We fight for home. Every second we hold, every ship we save, gives humanity a future. Remember that. The fleet moved into formation. Fighters launched, engines roared, and human ships lit up the dark void of space with trails of determination. At the same time, on distant worlds, alien envoys watched through long-range relays. They expected a massacre. The Empire always crushed its enemies in the first strike, but still they watched with curiosity. As the Imperial dreadnoughts entered firing range, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. Energy cannons charged, and the void lit up with deadly beams. Humanity's first war for survival had begun, and at the center of it all stood General Marcus Hale, his eyes fixed on the impossible enemy, his heart steady with a single thought: humanity will endure. The void of space became alive with fire. The Imperial fleet moved forward like an endless wall of steel and shadow, their weapons glowing with deadly light. Their dreadnoughts, larger than cities, pushed ahead with slow but unstoppable power. Each one carried enough fire to destroy a planet's defenses in hours. In comparison, humanity's ships looked fragile, almost small. Carriers, destroyers, and fighter squadrons floated in formation around the Resolute, General Marcus Hale's flagship. The humans knew their fleet was outnumbered 10-1, but none turned away. Their orders were clear: hold the line. The first strike came from the Empire. Beams of bright energy cut through space, shattering several human destroyers in moments. The shockwave rippled across comm channels. The soldiers of Earth saw their comrades vanish into dust, yet Marcus's voice remained calm. All ships steady, he ordered. They want fear. Do not give it to them. The human fleet answered with their own fire. Missiles streaked across the darkness, weaving between debris. Fighters rushed ahead, tiny compared to the massive dreadnoughts, but moving fast like a swarm of hornets. Where the Empire relied on brute force, humans relied on speed and precision. One squadron broke formation and dived toward an Imperial cruiser. The enemy's shields flared as the first wave of missiles exploded against it. The cruiser's return fire cut down half the squadron, but the rest pushed forward. One human pilot, his voice steady though alarm screamed in his cockpit, aimed his damaged fighter straight at the cruiser's engine core. "Tell my family we stood," he whispered. His ship struck, and the explosion ripped through the cruiser's side. The mighty vessel faltered, its weapons dimming. Across the fleet, humans cheered. "See?" Marcus said firmly. "They are not invincible." But victory was not easy. For every Imperial ship damaged, 10 more pressed forward. The dreadnoughts unleashed wave after wave of destruction, tearing through human lines. Carriers tried to keep squadrons alive, launching fighters as fast as they fell, but the numbers were against them. On the bridge of the Resolute, Marcus studied the chaos. His officers shouted updates. Losses heavy on the left flank. "Carrier Aurora is gone. Enemy dreadnought moving toward Earth." Marcus's mind worked quickly. He knew brute strength could not win. Humanity had to fight with creativity. "Order the left flank to retreat through the asteroid field," Marcus commanded. "Retreat, sir?" an officer asked. "Not retreat, trap," the plan unfolded. Human ships weaved through the thick asteroid belt near Jupiter, luring an Imperial battle group inside. The massive dreadnoughts followed, their size making them slow to maneuver. Hidden charges planted earlier detonated across the field. Asteroids shattered, fragments tearing into enemy hulls. Human fighters darted through the chaos, striking exposed engines. By the time the battle group realized the trick, 2 dreadnoughts were crippled, drifting helplessly in space. The galaxy watched in shock. No species had ever managed to damage Imperial dreadnoughts so early in a war. Alien envoys murmured in disbelief, their eyes fixed on the humans' daring tactics. Still, the cost was terrible. Human losses climbed higher with every passing hour. Marcus stood silently as casualty reports scrolled across his screen. Entire squadrons were gone. Whole crews had given their lives in desperate maneuvers. "Sir," his second officer said quietly. "How long can we last?" Marcus did not answer right away. He looked at the stars, then at Earth glowing faintly in the distance. "As long as we must," he finally said. "If we fall today, we show the galaxy what it means to be human. If we live, we show the Empire that we will never break." His words spread through the comm channels, giving tired soldiers new strength. The battle raged on. A small human destroyer, Valiant, made a daring move, slipping under the shields of a dreadnought. Its captain ordered all power to engines and aimed for the ship's reactor. The explosion was blinding, and for a brief moment the Empire's line staggered. Another squadron of fighters split into 3 groups, striking from different angles. Their coordination forced Imperial gunners to spread their fire, giving one group the chance to land hits on a cruiser's bridge. The ship went dark, drifting powerless into space. For every act of courage, the Empire answered with destruction. The Guardian, one of Earth's carriers, was targeted by 3 dreadnoughts. Despite fierce defense, its hull cracked apart, scattering thousands of lives into the void. Marcus closed his eyes briefly, then gave new orders to press the attack. He did not let despair show, for he knew his people watched him. Hours turned into a full day. The humans had held longer than anyone expected, but the Imperial fleet was endless. Reinforcements continued to arrive from hyperspace, more dreadnoughts blotting out the stars. Humanity's fleet was bleeding. On the Council worlds, alien leaders began to murmur. Perhaps these humans are not weak, one said. Perhaps they are different. Others shook their heads. Bravery will not save them. The Empire always wins. By the second day, the Empire pushed dangerously close to Earth. Their lead dreadnought aimed its colossal cannon toward the planet. One shot could burn cities to ash. Humanity's defenses were nearly gone. On the Resolute, alarms blared. Officers turned to Marcus with fear. General, we cannot hold them back. Earth will fall. Marcus stood in silence for a long moment. His heart was heavy, but his voice was steady. Then it is time, he said softly. Time for what, sir? Marcus looked out at the stars, his eyes calm despite the storm. Time to tell them the truth. The Empire believes we fight for victory. They are wrong. Humanity fights for something far greater. Prepare to transmit my words across the galaxy. His officers stared, uncertain but loyal. The signal was prepared. Marcus stepped forward, ready to speak, not of weapons, not of tactics, but of mankind itself. The whisper that would change the galaxy was about to begin. The stars around Earth burned with fire. Wreckage of ships drifted like ghosts, and the silence of the void carried the memory of sacrifice. Humanity's fleet had been pushed back, broken in places, but not destroyed. The lead Imperial dreadnought advanced, its cannon glowing with energy that could erase entire cities in one strike. Across Earth, billions of people watched the sky and prayed. In the council chambers of distant worlds, alien leaders leaned forward, expecting the end of humanity. But General Marcus Hale stood calmly on the bridge of the Resolute. His uniform was torn, smoke filled the air, and his fleet was in ruins, yet his eyes burned with determination. Begin transmission, he said. The signal spread across every frequency the Empire used, and then further through human relays, alien relays, and even pirate networks. Soon, billions across the galaxy were watching. The face of Marcus Hale appeared on their screens, worn but unshaken. People of the galaxy, he began, his voice steady. You look at Earth today and see a small species facing the greatest empire the stars have ever known. You expect us to kneel or to die, but you do not understand us. You do not understand what it means to be human. On the Imperial flagship, the Emperor himself leaned forward, curious. He had heard many speeches before from conquered races. They always begged for mercy, always promised obedience. But this man did not beg. Marcus's voice carried on. We were not born in safety. Our world has always tested us. Fire, storms, hunger, and cold shaped us. We have faced floods, plagues, and wars of our own making. And each time when we thought we were finished, we endured. That is what humanity is. The bridge crew of the Resolute watched him in silence. Every soldier felt his words echo in their hearts. Other empires believe strength is measured by numbers or by weapons or by power. But strength is more than that. Strength is the will to rise after being broken. Strength is refusing to bow when the whole universe tells you to kneel. Strength is hope. Across the galaxy his words spread. On a mining colony under Imperial control, workers stopped to listen. On a distant water world, scholars replayed the broadcast in awe. On conquered planets, whispers began to rise. Could it be true? Could these humans show a path no other species dared? Marcus leaned closer, his voice lowering into something almost like a whisper, yet strong enough to cut through every channel. You can burn our cities. You can break our fleets. You can silence our voices. But mankind does not die. We become the fire that consumes the conqueror. If you demand war, then you will never know peace again. Because humanity will fight you not for a year, not for a century, but for as long as it takes. We do not surrender. His words struck like lightning, Soldiers on broken human ships lifted their heads. Alien envoys who had pitied humanity now stared in awe. Even the Imperial officers shifted uneasily, as if for the first time they realized the war might not be as simple as they believed. The Emperor gave the order for the dreadnought to fire, but something unexpected happened. Crews hesitated. Commanders who had listened to the whisper of the human general looked at one another with doubt. Was this war truly worth endless resistance? Was this small species truly unbreakable? Meanwhile, the galaxy erupted with voices. On worlds far from Earth, people oppressed by the Empire began to chant the word human. It was not just a name anymore, it was a symbol. Humanity's defiance had given them courage. On Earth itself, billions cheered through tears. They did not know if they would survive the day, but they knew the truth. They were not powerless. Their spirit was stronger than any weapon. The battle did not end with explosions, but with silence. The Imperial dreadnought withdrew its cannon. One by one, the mighty ships pulled back, retreating into the darkness of hyperspace. The Emperor had seen something he did not expect. A war against humans would not end in victory. It would only create a fire that spread across the stars. In the council chambers of alien worlds, leaders spoke in hushed voices. The humans had done what no species had achieved before. They had forced the Empire to hesitate. The legend of Marcus Hale's whisper would live forever. Later, on the surface of Earth, the survivors gathered to honor the fallen. Fires still burned and wreckage still fell from orbit, but the people were not broken. They stood taller than before. Children carried candles. Soldiers carried the names of their lost comrades, and in every heart burned the truth they had learned. Marcus stood before them, not as a hero above others, but as a man among his people. His voice was quiet now, filled with sorrow and pride. "We did not choose this war," he said, "but we chose to stand. Remember this day, not for victory or defeat, but for the truth of who we are. Humanity is not a number. Humanity is not a weapon. Humanity is will, and will cannot be conquered." The crowd lifted their voices together, carrying his words into the night. Far away in secret places, whispers grew louder. Small rebel groups who had once hidden now looked to humanity for guidance. Alien leaders began to question the Empire's rule. And in the Emperor's halls, doubt spread like cracks in stone. The galaxy had changed forever, not because Earth had won a war, but because one human had spoken the truth. And so the legend began. The Empire demanded war, but the general whispered the truth of mankind.